Hello and welcome to KUOW's Morning Edition. I'm here once again with Nancy Pearl, librarian extraordinaire, and author of the Book Lust series. She comes by from time to time with under-the-radar books, or books she feels are not getting quite the attention they deserve. And today she seems particularly excited to be here. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Steve. Yes, I really enjoyed this latest book, Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Adichie. Adichie is an extremely talented storyteller. She grew up in Nigeria and was immersed in the Igbo culture of her hometown. In fact, she almost tells the story like a traditional Igbo folktale. She came to the United States when she was 19 and attended a couple of prestigious schools, including Yale. But most of her books are about life in Nigeria, focusing on family relationships and religious and political conflict. Her writing style is less direct than most modern authors. So much is implied in this book. She's writing from the point of view of a young, very innocent girl, and so does not directly describe many of the events.
Maybe you can explain it to us.
I'm getting there. Purple Hibiscus is told from the perspective of a 15-year-old girl named Kambili, who is growing up in Nigeria during the 90s in a dysfunctional family. Kambili's father is extremely wealthy and is greatly admired in their community for his generous donations to charity. Kambili's father cares very much for the welfare of his children, but as an influential member of the Catholic community, he punishes his children mercilessly if they act in a way that he sees as being contrary to the faith. There are a couple of scenes where he tries to cleanse them while venting his anger, and brutally beats the kids. He also commits acts of domestic violence against their mother that cause Kambili and Jaja to be extremely obedient. But in spite of all this, they still love and admire him.
He sounds like quite a complex character.
Yes, despite his good intentions, Kambili's father becomes a vicious and cruel husband. This seems to be a theme in Adichie's book, that all humans make mistakes, although they are sometimes hidden from the rest of the world. He's trying to be a good person and punishes his kids for their sake, but it often goes too far. There is another influential maternal figure in Kambili's life, which is Auntie Ifeoma, who, I've got to tell you, is quite a character. Auntie Ifeoma, just like Kambili's mother, is a very strong woman. Even though she is very poor, Auntie Ifeoma tries to make the very best possible life for her children. While Kambili's dad denounces his father as a heathen for following traditional animistic beliefs and refuses to have much contact with him, Auntie Ifeoma still cares and respects him.
And onto the plot?
I hate to give too much away, but Adichie definitely has an interesting approach to the storyline. She starts the book with its climax, opening with a scene in which Jaja is disobeying his father, and then takes you back in time to see the events leading up to it. The harsh rule of their father was all Jaja and Kambili had ever known, until they visit with Auntie Ifeoma, without their parents, and observe a form of Catholicism that was
completely different from anything they'd seen before.
Exactly. Kambili and Jaja feel comfortable to speak their minds. Kambili develops a special bond with one of Auntie Ifeoma's children, Amaka, and is exposed to her cultured music and lipstick. Eventually, Kambili and Jaja return to their mansion in Aba, but in their absence, things have changed.
For better or for worse?
It gets worse, and then better. Kambili is badly beaten by her father for being disobedient while she was away, and she and Jaja eventually return to Auntie Ifeoma's house. Their mother no longer feels pressured to suffer in silence, as she had for all of her life. And the result is a bittersweet ending. I won't tell you all the specifics, but I will say that it involves poison and a jail sentence.
Wow, that sounds like an exciting ending. What was your favorite aspect of the book?
Adichie really pulls historical context into her books, tying in the economic, social, and political tensions in Nigeria without outright describing them. In Purple Hibiscus, Nigeria undergoes a military coup, and the dictator attempts to censor Kambili's father's newspaper. Social stratification is seen through the radical differences in the lives of Kambili's family and Ifeoma's life. And of course, there is the underlying religious tension between Catholicism and traditional beliefs. Those conditions were probably the greatest influences on the book. Adichie also touches on universal themes such as strength through silence, domestic violence, and the different faces of human nature. The theme of silence is reflected through Kambili's inability to articulate her ideas, frequently communicating with her brother without ever uttering a word. Adichie's characters are so complex that they come to life.
So, have you read any other books by this author?
Yes, Adichie also wrote Half of a Yellow Sun, which is set in post-colonial Nigeria. She She plans to write a novel on the Nigerians' experience in the United States, which I am very excited for. Her books have really revealed the underlying struggles in West Africa indirectly. They have been so well received because Adichie is a truly gifted and sophisticated author. I foresee a very successful career for her.
Well, thank you, Nancy, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Steve. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to KUOW's Morning Edition. Stay tuned for This American Life with Ira Glass.